Money, the cause of and solution to most of life's problems. This is a simple framework that we like to use to help talk about the flow of money and the impact it has on us in terms of short-term and long-term energy. It's not designed as a financial planning tool or something that can use for personal financial advice, but it's a useful tool to help you look at the money that you have coming in and where you're deploying it for your long-term freedom. Most employees spend a lot of their time sitting in the job quadrant. We understand this matrix. You can see that in terms of wealth and money, there's income and equity components. Some of it is volatile or short term. Some of it is more stable for the longer term. A job, and I include in a job most small and micro business owners who are anxious about their ongoing P&L. Most jobs sit in a volatile income space. You need to show up every month in order to get your paycheck. This is a foundation building block for your personal wealth. And yet most people find that the money comes in through the job quadrant, but it goes out just as quickly. They don't actually put any of it towards any of these other quadrants. Let's have a look at what these other quadrants are. Mostly, in an ideal world, throughout our career, we're interested in building the size of the wealth quadrant. This provides long-term stable equity, a net position that we can draw on later in life when we choose to retire or seek more flexibility in terms of our employment. That flexibility or retirement is what I call the freedom quadrant. If we have an idea that we need a certain amount to live on each year, then if we had that money coming from our long-term wealth to provide that freedom, we would be able to live in that quadrant without actually needing a job. This is an ideal that many of us have. We're not quite sure exactly how we might get there. To give you an idea of some of the numbers, if you have an idea of what your annual income needs to be for you to live the life that you want, research indicates that you need approximately 25 times that amount sitting in the wealth quadrant as net income, net wealth. That 25 times is known as the safe withdrawal rate. And if you're interested, I'd encourage you to Google safe withdrawal rate, Trinity study, or financial independence. It does depend a little bit on your risk profile. If you have a lower risk appetite, you may want 30 to 35 times your net income sitting in net wealth. If you have a higher tolerance for risk and are willing to look after some of the volatility of the markets, possibly earn more income in retirement, then maybe you only need 20 times your income in order to live sustainably for a long period of time. The wealth quadrant is comprised of different assets. This might be investment properties, money that you've got in index funds or another portfolio of diversified equities. It could be a systemized business that pays out dividends. That's the money that will fund you through to freedom. To build the wealth quadrant, we generally start with our job, making sure that we're spending less than we're earning to give us money to invest. And we can also play up here in the flip quadrant. This is where we invest in assets that don't have a cash flow component, but can be flipped, turned over, or resold to create equity. So that might be a house renovation, property development, could be day trading in shares, it could be going to garage sales on a weekend, buying things for $10 and selling them on eBay for $20. There's no cash flow coming in, there's no income, but it does help build the equity and the net worth. To give you an idea, the simple math that sits behind this for most employees here in Australia. Most Australians think that they have to work for 40 to 50 years before they're able to retire. In reality, the math is such that for a professional here in Australia, 15 to 20 years of concerted effort on building your wealth is often all that you require to have in that job. Having worked the job and built the wealth, you can then move into the freedom quadrant. Some people call that early retirement. What it really means is choice. I personally never plan to retire in a traditional sense, but I do plan to spend a lot more time in the freedom quadrant than I do in the job quadrant. And that's why this is a topic that is very, very dear to my heart and something that I'm keen to share with anyone who's interested in learning more.